It is Wednesday, December 6th, 2017. Welcome to another episode of Redacted. This time uninterrupted. We did it! We did it!
Almost though. Twerk was
Finally.
coughing loudly when you started.
I'm sick.
It's been ruined by his coughing.
I know, right?
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Redacted. Joined by myself, Twerk17, and BoredGamer UK. How are you guys doing?
Hey, yeah. Good, mate.
Good to hear. Fantastic. I see Twerk is not looking very festive today. We're in the Nubifier shirt, though. Repping the Nubifier.
Oh, just get a bit festive here.
Oh, yeah. We all... We have mine as well.
Those shirts are on sale, by the way. Those Trixie shirts. Yep. They are on sale.
So I'm sponsored by Twerk17.
Are you? How do you get on that train? Does he pay you? Does he pay you like is it a daily or weekly thing or what?
He gave me a t-shirt for my monthly giveaway. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
You just got to give things for the monthly giveaway. That's
all you need to. That's all you need to do. That's
very nice. Very nice. So in the last week here, we've seen quite a bit. We've seen a few builds of Star Citizen PTU in 3.0, going all the way up to our current patch, which is 3.0 AG. We saw the last half of the anniversary sale, as well as a new ship to vote on, and some other interesting stuff here. So why don't we start, Twerk? Why don't you start with whatever we have written here on the doc? Before yeah, I know, right? If you guys have any questions, exclamation point question in chat and get those in there. If you'd like to pick up one of the Redacted shirts or one of the content creator shirts on Redacted, exclamation point merch in chat. MERCH.
Don't worry.
To be honest, they're on sale like almost every other week. If it was us, we would just permanently have them on sale, guys.
They are on sale, yeah.
Personally, but everything, all the t-shirts are on sale right now for $14. So if you want one, go get one. And
if I could, I'd make all the t-shirts myself to save as much money as possible, but I don't.
Yeah.
He would just make he would have basically these rags, his old dishcloths, and he's writing on them with a marker.
Come on, kids,
Redacted.
don't go to school. Make some t-shirts with me. Come on. It's for a good cause. Yeah. Merry Christmas.
My goodness.
No, you can't have any coal this year.
Coal for you. You haven't made enough t-shirts.
Too expensive. Jesus.
All right, so I'm supposed to start with the things in the doc.
Let's start with the things.
All right, so starting with the things, we like you said earlier.
Ivakai is now started.
No. Oh yeah.
Ivacati now has 3.0.
So obviously we're in patch AG. Do we want to start with our experiences in the
Yeah,
most
we can
patch?
we can go with that.
A good place to start. I didn't play much of the. I played the most recent build AG, and it's pretty decent. But the ones before that, I didn't play too much because they were pretty either unstable or they had that CPU kind of hanging issue or
where it would freeze your whole computer.
Two major issues with the AF and AE patches were the 3007 errors, which were you couldn't connect.
The American servers were 24 hours were borked.
Yeah. It was all servers. It seemed like it was just so hard to get on, and when you did, the occasional then crash would be pretty annoying. But it was also the CPU spikes. Like when you were on a server, you'd have every 10 to 30 seconds, you'd have a 4-second lapse of 0 frames.
Did you use BES at all? Did you end up using that?
So I even though I write those user.cfg guides and stuff, I try to avoid programs like that because it's not going to give any useful data to CIG.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I did try workarounds as well separately to see. I'm curious what this is, and I didn't find anything to stop my CPU from imploding.
Well, before we go any further, because I did use it as well, Torque, do you want to explain what BES is and sort of what it did?
I don't, to be honest, I don't even know like what the name of the actual program is, or have a link to the program that we picked up. But basically, it was a program that said, okay, I'm going to limit the amount of CPU usage that any given application can use at any time. So, for example, if you said I'm going to limit it to 5%, it would actually say, well, this program can use up to 95% of its CPU. I just won't let it go the additional 5% up to 100. So anytime that the CPU tried to spike, it would only go to 95% and not 100. So it kind of helped. When I played AE, I believe, I used this program, I did not have anywhere near the hangups that I was having. Was I having spikes? Was I seeing some stuttering? Absolutely. But did it hang my computer? Did I have like you said 4 seconds with 0 frames? Never. So it was actually playable for me. Okay, it was the 3007 error or 30,007 errors that I was having the issues.
So I tried that same program. I tried it at minus 10% instead of the 5%. And I was getting it worse than without the program at all. And then I had also tried it.
Maybe it's just random.
Yeah. So I maybe it's a hardware thing. But then I also tried going in through, I don't know what it's called, but when you press Alt Shift Escape and then go to your details and then turn off separate cores, so not all the cores will be used. I tried that as well. Yeah, setting the affinity for that didn't work for me either.
Yeah, I think that affinity work. I mean, Bored, you might know better than any of us that affinity workaround isn't really a thing anymore, right?
So it previously was sort of a thing when there were bugs with what CPU cores Star Citizen was trying to use and stuff, but it's no longer really a thing. If you get it working, it's either a bit random if you get it working through that, or it's patch specific or something. But again, with the PTU patches and the Evocati patches and stuff, shouldn't really be messing around too much with use.cfg stuff and programs trying to fix stuff and workarounds, because it doesn't give useful information for CIG. And I know that's the
whole point of this.
Yeah, I know that's quite hypocritical for me to say, because I literally build those guides straight away when I can. But for me, I play it a lot and want to also get footage for content. And a lot of the time, I do build workarounds to get that footage. So...
Right. The whole point of the test, though, is to stress test everything and to sort of push everything to the limit. And because they collect results automatically from those builds, that's sort of where that comes in, and you don't want to be giving them false positives.
Yeah. And that said, the AG patch was 1,000,000 times better than those previous two.
Yes.
Just the crux of what we were talking about.
Well, made all of those other things completely obsolete, right? So not having to use
the CPU spikes are now obsolete.
Obsolete
so they
CPU
still have
spikes.
A few lying around, a few CPU spikes that they haven't tracked down yet. And they're working on them, but it is nowhere near what it was. I mean, I had a server with 60 frames.
Yeah,
I know. I was watching
for a little while, and like, I know we had this discussion last week. I think, Source, what would you rather have, more players or more frames? I mean, it felt like a completely different. It felt like okay, Star Citizen is it like we keep saying Star Citizen is not really a game yet, but it felt like a game when I was playing it.
Yeah,
60
and like
it feels good, man.
I was just going to grab a ship. You know what I mean? It just felt totally different. It was just crazy. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning your direction again a little bit. But at the same time, like, I think we all know what's going to happen for the next 6, 8, 10 months, a year. They're just going to hammer things and get as many players in as possible, because that's the end goal, right?
Yeah, obviously they want thousands of players on the servers.
Yeah.
It's weird. They do this thing where they are trying to build that game, and so they give us stuff for testing, and it's not really a proper game for us at all. But they try and market it like it's a major game release.
Yeah.
And polish it for that purpose. And it's just so odd, because you're like, it's not a major game release. It's your testing. You're still testing on the mechanics. All of this is for us to give feedback on. Why are you trying to make it as perfect as possible? Just give me the engine raw, allow me to make private servers, allow mods to happen, allow me to spawn in your half-done ships, even Idrises that don't work properly. And I will be fucking happy as a pig in shit. It will be like, I can't imagine anything better than having the community modding for that game now.
Yeah. I mean, I think we know the answer of why they talk about it like it's a release game, because it sells. I think
I
it helps
think-
them with their ship sales.
I think it would sell more if they allowed modding and made it rawer. They went.
I think it would sell more long term if they didn't do what like what you said, like if they didn't speak of it as if it was a release game, because I think a lot of the people that end up coming to the Twitch channels or specifically their Twitch channel and their YouTube channel, when they they see certain things and then and hear certain things the way they say it, it really does feel like a release game, and then they come to your channel and they're like, haha, 15 FPS, you loser. I can't believe you're playing this game. This game's a scam, blah, 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 blah. And they say all those things. And it's like, dude, we're on a, like, in any other situation.
Test. Yeah,
it's a closed test right now. And I don't think this would even be out of Evocati if they weren't trying to push the number of players. Right? Because, like, Evocati,
especially with the spikes. If we had if our first patches had those CPU spikes, especially, that was not ready. It wouldn't have went to PTU.
They wouldn't have been there.
No. That was something that came in afterwards.
I think the reason for going to public PTU is to get more players in and get more information. It, like, they had the game playable enough and had a lot of the bugs and kinks worked out. But it's not a releasable build. It's not a look at me, this is the game. It's not even a look at me, this is 3.0. Right? Because there's so many things. You go and try and move cargo, it costs the same at one station as it does at the other. Like stuff like that they're gonna fix before it's officially a live release, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that they've sort of held back or holding
because they're working on other stuff, more performance wise or whatever, right? The missions are starting to work.
I know. How good is that? No invincible NPCs. Missions are kind of occasionally working. Like, occasionally, like you were doing the patrol missions and stuff, and occasionally it will just fail you randomly. But and sometimes boxes disappear just before you hand them in. They just disappear out of your hands. You're like, well, fuck. I'm able to do a big line of missions without having an issue occasionally now, which is cool. Yeah. Play the game, woo!
Hey, so yeah, it's getting there, but it in no way, shape, or form is this like a game release, like a releasable game or a releasable 3.0. And it's like they do talk about the game sometimes like it is, and it's like, come on, guys, I don't know. But yeah, my experience in today's was a lot better.
The current patch is much better.
It's going to get better as we go on, right? When it's going to go live, though, I still
don't know.
Very difficult to determine.
At the very least, I and I'm sure we're all on the same page here. We are anticipating this patch, or sorry, not this patch, but PTU to at least go to everybody before the holidays.
Yeah, I think before Christmas. Yeah. That's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of makes the most sense to me.
For sure. During our podcast last week, the RSI video dropped, and it was like people were like leaving the podcast to go see it, and then they kept spoilering in the chat. I was getting so pissed because I wanted to watch it because it was they were talking about my favorite ship. So
at least your video got some cool stuff.
I know, right?
But it wasn't necessarily cool. It just went, and now it's twice as big.
So the RSI Orion was like probably the feature, of everything there, and it's big.
It's bigger than an Idris.
Twice the size of an Idris, right?
I don't think it's twice the size of an Idris.
It's like 200 meters, right?
It's bigger than an Idris.
It's 370 meters to 400 meters long now, and the Idris is 235.
Yeah, so it's not twice, but it's
significantly larger.
It's basically a javelin.
I think it's 237.5, the Idris, but can someone will correct me, someone intelligent.
I'm sure. But yeah, it was a $325 ship, and God knows what it's worth now.
It was still $325 towards the end of the anniversary sale. So I was just with all my store credit, just buying up Caterpillar to Orion upgrades
for like the $30 or whatever.
Yeah.
I purchased another Orion for a giveaway at some point.
It's a lie. He's hoarding all the Orions. He's gonna make it so nobody else has them but him.
That's true.
Orions are amazing. Like, they're amazing.
I knew they were going to be amazing, but I didn't think they would be this cool. The real, like, we got to see the inside of them now and the living quarters, and there was so much more to it.
According to
I'm so happy with what
yeah,
they
just
did.
more information on it.
According to the updated chip matrix, the address P is 233 meters long, so I'm 4.5 meters out.
Oh, damn.
Way off.
Fucked up, Bord.
Fake news. Hashtag fake news.
Hashtag fake news. But the Idris M is 242 meters long, so I was going for the in between. Clearly,
Close.
yeah, close enough.
Close enough.
Very close.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy with what I've seen so far. It's very, very basic. It's very, very white box, but I'm so.
It's cool when they were
happy
showing
with
the
what I've seen.
interior. How not everything is very industrial, like the living quarters and stuff. Like, kind of look nice.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that they'll maybe change those couches and everything to be more industrial, but at the same time, like, if I'm the captain of a 400-meter long ship, I mean, I think I'd be a pretty big fucking baller, right? And I'd have a nice little ballery bedroom to live in.
A ballery bedroom.
Ballery bedroom.
Look how big it is.
It is so big, it's ridiculous.
Oh, that's a top tier mining ship now.
I mean, it was before, dude.
But now it really is.
Now it sort of fits that.
Now it makes me go, I'm going to use it just for cargo runs.
No, it fits the end game that everybody's was hoping, right? For that sort of size category. So yeah, that's obviously that's why you're so excited about.
Yeah. I mean, now it really fits too with how they described it, where, you know, this ship is so big that, you know, sometimes the best ore is going to be in the most dense asteroids. And this ship is so big, it's not going to be able to, like, dense asteroid fields, that it's not going to be able to maneuver through them. So, you know, this is more of a...
Doesn't need to maneuver through them to work when it eats them.
Yeah, but it can't eat everything, right? So
it can eat everything!
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
So it's going to have those sorting boxes as well. You're going to be able to tell all the different ores what you want and what you don't want. So I don't know how it actually chucks ore out that it doesn't want. But I suspect it's just like a big trail of ore that pirates can follow. Go,
Yeah.
Orion.
Must be an Orion. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool, because I mean, that's what happens with, like, you know, if you've ever watched Gold Rush or whatever those shows on, like, the Discovery Channel.
It's pirates on that, though.
Yes, on some of them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, there's like people that mine on other people's claims and shit. So there's always that trail of the leftover rocks that nobody wants, and then there's, you know, everything gets sorted. So that might be a cool way to find a miner, as like for a pirate, like, you know, Saurus or something. Right? Finding the trail, following it, pretty cool.
Sniffing it out.
Yeah, man. But I don't know. I'm really, really excited for it. I can't believe it got that big. What's going to happen with some other ships, and it's just it's good. And I'm happy, because I was really nervous. So there was a chance that, you know, you buy a ship based on a concept, right? And there's sometimes it changes, and sometimes it doesn't change the way you wanted it to. And in this case, it was for the better for me, and it was my favorite ship. So I'm like,
now we still don't have any ships that have gone down in size, right? Everything has gone up in size, if they've changed size at all.
Yeah, but I don't believe anything.
I think so. Like the Banning Merchantman went up, this went up, the Idris went up, the Constellation went up.
Potentially Vandal ships might
Caterpillar
have gone down.
went
We
up.
don't know yet.
I tell you, I was playing with us. Tudliday was playing with me, and he was flying a scythe. It's fucking big.
Yeah. I'm thinking they'll probably make the Vandal ships more sleek.
But the Vandal themselves are fairly big.
Yeah.
They are fairly big. Well, they're like an odd shape.
Humans.
Well, yeah, but they're also like 9 feet tall, right?
Yeah. Are they 9 feet? They can't be 9 feet.
Yeah, I think
sure. Why not? They're supposed to tower over us.
Yeah, I think they're like 9 feet tall, or close to that. 8 to 9
They're
feet?
definitely larger than a human.
Yeah.
And large enough to make it uncomfortably large, right? 8-9 feet would do that.
I actually don't know how tall they are.
I'm not even a lore guy.
I don't think any of us are lore guys.
Fair. While Board's looking that up frantically, the next one was on MISC, and the big focus of this one seemed to be the Hull C.
Yes, and most people are saying 9 to 10 feet tall.
Yeah,
9 to 10 feet tall. What the fuck? That's bigger than Titan armor.
That's a little big. That's a little too big, probably. But I don't know. People are saying it in the chat, but you can't trust the internet.
Yeah, they're a good 3 foot taller than us. Yeah, and looking at the pictures.
The MISC Hull C.
Yep.
Fucking really
compact
cool.
sound. Yeah, it's really neat.
Really cool. My favorite part of it.
It's my favorite pinata.
Yeah. My favorite part of it, and I don't know where it is in the video. I should have found it for you, but it's where the back part of the ship, where there's that door near the engine, and you could just kind of like look out over the edge of space as your truck is just driving away.
Just chill.
But, yeah, and I actually missed this part when I was watching it on my stream. Was that inside the spindle, you can walk through it to get to the back.
Yeah, the spindle has a walkway through it.
Yeah, and I'm really happy with that because I originally didn't think that we were going to see that.
Now,
I thought it was...
Is it a spindle? Is it a walkway like what we have on the Starfarer? Is it exposed or is it internal? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, is it inside of the spindle or is it sort of a walkway that's exposed to space?
I think it's inside.
It's internal. Yeah, I think it's internal.
Okay.
That's what makes sense for the ship.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it looking at the video here.
Yeah. So I think it's internal. And I originally thought like that door was like you have to EVA over to be like the engineer, and the engineer just stays in the back. Yeah. And then the pilots and everybody.
He's like the caboose guy.
Separate.
He just hangs out in the caboose.
He's just he's the back of the bus guy, you know. He just hangs out back there and handles any fires or anything that goes on back there, and they communicate via radio or something like that. And I don't know. I just thought it was like a cool little touch to the ship. And I know it's like something so basic, but I don't know. I really liked it. We also got to see a good look. And I don't know when it shows up in the video either, but they also show the multiple different types of cargo on the Hull C. So it's not
all
just,
the different types of cargo that's attached.
Yeah, it's not just boxes. Like the original concept art was like the same store all box, very uniform, all looking the same. Here's what it looks like, and then we actually saw what it looked like with all the different types of.
Right, I think that
the liquid one and so on.
It was easier for concepting for that. And the fact that there is a standard cargo unit size, that they were able to do that. But now that they have some of the different cargo, here it is here. So you can see some of the different cargo boxes and types. Like you can tell what ones are fuel, what ones are just solid boxes and things like that.
You get a good look at the door too that I was talking about.
Yeah, it is a cool ship.
It looks good. Yeah. It looks really good in engine. What I'm really looking forward to seeing is they had talked. I don't think it'll be in the C, but in the D and E, maybe it'll be in the C. Is the ability to carry some ships, right? So they showed those. I remember I feel like they showed it like a cage around an M50.
Right. Kind of yeah, it's like a standard cargo carrier for small ships like Dragonflies or M50s or things like that, depending on how large a ship is, may be able to carry something a little bit larger.
When you transport them like that, do you think there will be a transport mode for them where they get smaller, the ships, or they take parts of them off, or do you think they're just going to be the full ship?
I don't know. I feel like when they talked about it, it was parts of ships.
I could see them like the wings will look like they're removed, and the wings are underneath, say like on an M50, right? Like the wings are off or something.
I mean, you have to have it. Okay, they usually try and make real world, like things that we see in the world now, they tried to translate into the Star Citizen universe, right? And how you have those trucks that carry multiple cars, you know, with the ramps and everything. I feel like they're going to try and do something like that with this. So in my opinion, as long as it's a single seater ship, and of a certain length or whatever, that they could possibly be able to just
obviously I don't think anybody's expecting these to carry like constellations or anything.
No, of course not.
But something up to maybe like a 300 series. Like that size 300 series,
Gladius,
Avenger,
maybe
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
If only there was a large carry ship that could sort of like store a load of these vehicles of larger sizes and take them around the verse.
From like Drake.
Well, why not?
That would be
that would have been really interesting if they did that.
That would have
I
been
bet if we
pretty
had
cool.
a vote on that.
If we had a vote, I think the community would vote on that.
You think so? You think?
Yeah.
You think maybe they would?
I think they'd be really up for that. More so.
Maybe. I mean, if the thing is, I think if you actually put it up to a vote, I guess it would depend on what it's going up against. But I mean, that would be what I would vote for. I think I really like that idea. I really like that. You know, make sure to watch all of the content and absorb it all before I make my vote. He says. Yeah, and then so that's actually a pretty good segue talking about Drake.
I'd like a Drake segue as well.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, Drake
Too
vehicle
high-tech.
would be cool. We had the video for Drake was actually a little bit disappointing. Obviously, they supplement that with the vote thing, but I was really, really looking forward to the video more than the vote because I was hoping we were going to hear about the red and the blue cutlasses, the variants, as well as I was really hoping after a long period of silence, we haven't heard anything on the Caterpillar modules. And I think for us to be able to vote effectively on whatever ships that they were wanting to bring in, I thought it would be important that we would have to know what our current ships were going to be capable of doing first. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and we got a Cutlass Black video where they talked about the Cutlass Black some more. And
there was two things I learnt during that Cutlass Black video.
What's that?
I didn't know before. The canopy can be ejected now in the pilot's canopy. So instead of ejecting the whole pilot, literally the canopy just blows up, and then you have to exit your seat. But it's a better ejection method than having to run out the door.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. I can get on board with Drake having that kind of ejection method where they just blow the canopy off.
Yeah.
And then you walk out, basically. And that they are considering having mounted guns in the side doors.
Yeah.
So as like a module or something. And I really, really like that. For ships like the Caterpillar.
As like a deployable...
the Cutlass.
As like a deployable turret mount or something.
Yeah, think of like a size 1 or 2 weapon or something on a spindle on each of the doors, and they slide open. You're expecting there to be just... cargo in there or whatever, and it's just a load of guns. More guns.
I mean, I think the best information that we got is Josh Coons has got a lot of volume in his hair. Got a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh Coons, he's a legend. He's a legend of a man.
His hair is glorious.
He just talks, I feel more relaxed. He just talks, and I just like, oh, I feel really, really relaxed now, and a little hungry.
It's weird.
It's a weird.
Getting cravings.
He gives me ship munchies.
But yeah, the big thing with this was they brought in the You Pick the Next Drake ship. This voting is still going on. It is only the 6th today, as you know, because it is Wednesday, December 6th. This is going until December 11th. And they had done a happy hour game dev where they were talking about the different Drake ships and sort of what they could be doing, just sort of spitballing ideas and stuff like that. And they broke it down to 3 choices. Now, 2 choices were already predetermined by the panel or CIG. And then the third one was an option in between the Scout Carrier, which was like a mobile truck stop. A one called the Starlifter, which someone had
You're talking about the Genesis Starlifter.
found. Yeah, the Genesis Starlifter from before. Mm-hmm. And I was even thinking the Star... what is it called? What's the fuel ship we have right now? Why can't I think of the name of it?
Starfarer.
The Starfarer. There we go. The Starfarer would work really well with that if they removed the big tanks at the back and had some things that would hold a vehicle. That would be perfect, especially the is it the Genesis version of that?
No, it's not the Genesis. It's
Aegis.
No, what's the weaponized
There are
version?
2 versions of the Starfarer,
Yeah.
Aegis and MISC.
Yeah, it's
One is the
Aegis.
military version. That's
The military
Aegis.
one. The military one, anyways, I thought would be a cool Starlifter. If you remove the
It's
rear tanks.
The Gemini.
The Gemini.
That's what you're waiting for. But it's
Genesis
Aegis.
Gemini. Yes. Same thing. Same thing. But yeah, so I thought that would be a really good idea for the Genesis thing. And then I am going to be honest, I think I forget what the third option was for the viewer's choice.
Me too.
It doesn't matter, does it? It didn't get picked.
It didn't get picked. Anyways, so we were watching it on my stream together. Obviously, everybody knows that I'm a huge Drake fanboy. And
Oh yeah, because we were watching it on my stream
Oh,
together as well.
were you? Were you watching it
Yeah.
live?
No, because I'm not weird and stream in the middle of the day. I sleep then.
Okay.
Okay.
I sleep in the middle of the day
Yeah.
like a proper
Sorry.
Twitch streamer.
Right.
Yeah, so anyways, the third one, and I think everybody knew that was going to happen. The third one was the Drake Scout Carrier. Now, the code name for the salvage ship is the Vulture. And they had the channel vote on Twitch for the names. So Vulture was the first one. Corsair was I guess the best way that they described it was a competitor to the Constellation that would have its own sort of vehicle. And then the third one was the codename was Kraken. And yeah, we may have memed that one into existence.
Yeah.
So let me just read what these things are, and then we'll go from there. So the entry-level Drake salvage ship, codename Vulture, is a one-man starter salvage ship. No drones, but plenty of onboard storage to help with EVA salvage operations, space for cutters, charges, etc. Toolbox.
EV
And
is the key word there.
yeah, and space in a separate area to store/process the recovered salvage. Mostly designed for the player to EVA out and do the salvage rather than sit inside and do it with tractor beams/lasers. Small enough to sneak into hostile areas unnoticed and recover fresh salvage. So that was the first one. The second one is the multi-crew Drake Explorer, codenamed the Corsair. Drake's competitor to the Constellation, the rough and ready multi-crew Explorer, differs from the 600i by its crude basic construction and from the Constellation by its lower missile count, but with a third turret to make up for it, so more guns, less missiles. Able to transport a vehicle and cargo, think extended or upscaled Cutlass rear area, faster and more nimble than the others, but like all Drake ships, pretty paper thin, so not very strong on the armor front. And then last but not least was the Drake Scout Carrier, codenamed Kraken. This is Drake's capital ship entry, space to park and store a few medium ships up to freelancer size and transport them around the verse. Serves as a mobile truck stop in function with a small hub of stores, some less than legit to help restock. The voting started off and it was very strong for the Scout Carrier. It was up to 46 or 47%. But as time went on, the Vulture had sort of taken over. So right now, as of the recording of this podcast, the entry-level Drake salvage ship, codenamed Vulture, is sitting at 45% of 33,209 votes. The multi-crew Drake Explorer, codenamed Corsair, is sitting at 18%. And the Drake scout carrier, codenamed Kraken, is sitting at 37%. So I guess the next question to everyone is going to be, what did you vote for? Why did you vote for it? And what do you see in that ship and in maybe any of the other ships as well?
Go ahead, Board. You first.
Well, I mean, I voted for the Kraken mainly because I'm a Drake, desperately want a capital ship fanboy, which we talked about for ages and ages and ages and ages. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that it's clear to me that, and I'm sure Saurus has the same opinion as this, that the entry-level salvage ship will get made whatever because they have to make it.
Yeah.
And they probably will make to be honest, they'll probably make the Kraken as well now because they saw how popular it was. And they make a lot of money on capital ships from concierge members and stuff.
I mean, I think it had a lot of good gameplay stuff as well. But
I mean, like, I desperately want the Kraken. I think it would be cool, but it's the Vulture is essential, but the Vulture is essential and will get made whatever. Mm-hmm. And I suppose it's sort of like what gets made next. I just don't really care for the Corsair much. I mean, for me, the Constellation.
We have so many of those at this point.
Yeah. Well, the Caterpillar.
Like, yes.
Caterpillar modules can make up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Can't you? Aren't we going to be able? Do we have to have all the Caterpillar modules on at one time, or can we take less? Have less, and then
no, we can only have the amount of. We can only have the set amount. You can't have any more. Okay. You can't have any less.
Gotcha. Lame.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe you could basically make yourself a constellation then, but I don't know. Have you finished everything you wanted to say, Board, before I went on?
Yeah, really. I suppose. I was very sort of like, I didn't want to talk about it at the time because I was worried about influencing other people's opinions. I was like, make your own opinions up. I'm probably going to vote for, whatever.
Yeah. For me, I voted for the Vulture. And the reason I voted for the Vulture is the same reason that what you said is it needs to be made. But I think it needs to be made Drake. I think it makes the most sense for it to be a Drake ship. I think the way they described it was not necessarily the best. I don't like the idea of it being an EVA salvage ship. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of it being an EVA salvage ship, but I don't. In the description, there's nowhere that separates it from anything else.
Yeah,
what makes this a salvage ship?
Yeah, any ship can do it.
Yet.
Yeah, it just says it has space for like welders and things inside.
Yeah. And it's like well, there's gonna, I can.
That sounds like a toolbox that you can put in other ships.
Exactly, or like a gun rack that I can put a welder on.
Why wouldn't I do this in the Cutlass?
Exactly. So there's a large number of things like that people question, and it was just I think it was just the ship was probably just communicated sort of poorly, and especially in that little blurb. There is no, in my mind, there was no way that it will just be a platform where you will play salvage and you will EVA from, right? It's going to be more than that. There has to be something that sets it apart from other things. So I voted for it because I felt like it needed to be in, and I felt like it needed to be Drake. I think it makes the most sense to be a Drake ship because Saurus and his guys are going to go and they're going to blow up ships, and somebody needs to clean them up. So, you want the whole gameplay loop. If I'm going to blow up a ship, I also want to make money off the ship that's blown up, right? Not just whatever cargo landed or just to be a dick, Might as well make money off ship salvage as well. So I thought it makes the most sense to be Drake. So that's why I voted for it, in the hopes, like, I didn't vote for it off the blurb, that's for sure, in the hopes that they'll get it right. They may not.
No, I agree. I agree with both of you guys. I think that no matter what, the entry, I think entry, mid, and high end level ships for all of the major professions are going to be made. And those are all things that they need to have done no matter what, whether it be mining,
probably
salvaging, medical,
companies, right?
Whatever. Right. Exactly. I also agree that salvage very much feels like a Drake thing, right? Like there could be two sides to that sword, one being the lawful salvage thing, the other thing being something more unlawful. That being said, what really perturbed me about the Vulture, and this was what you brought up, Torque, was the EVA stuff and the fact that it didn't feel like it was its own ship. That the Cutlass is actually a better platform, because while this doesn't have any of those tractor beams or anything, the Cutlass actually does, right? So it's like, well, the Cutlass does have tractor beams.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. As standard, the Cutlass does have a tractor.
It's like, well, what is this bringing to the table that Drake doesn't already have, and how does it fit in with the rest of the Drake ships? Okay, so that's one thing that sort of bothers me about it. The reason I voted
was basically terrible.
Right. So I voted for the Kraken. That as soon as we saw it and I started thinking about it, a lot of it really made sense. Especially with the new UEE claims coming out, right? Where if you have a UE claim, that means you need to be in UE space. Now, a lot of nomadic or outlaw or pirate organizations are not going to want to be confined to UE space and won't have the benefits of having a UE claim and having that protection from the UE. So having something that was going to be able to float around and move, even if it is really slow and not very maneuverable, is going to be a huge benefit and is going to sort of make up for that. So that was one thing. I really like the idea of having the mobile truck stop with where you could sell your stuff and have a black market and sort of move from place to place and sort of just be nomadic overall. That being said, I also didn't mind the idea of the Corsair, something that fit in between the Cutlass and the Caterpillar. I actually prefer that idea more than the proposed proposed Vulture. Now, if the Vulture was, as of right now, I am pretty salty that the Vulture is winning. And the reason is because the only confirmed things are what these blurbs are. And this is what I've been told by Matt Sherman. This is what I've been told by Xylo, is that everything else that was in the video, so things like the open cockpit idea of the salvage ship and all this other stuff, was just sort of spitballing and not confirmed. What is confirmed is whatever's in these blurbs. So I don't think that we're going to see a lot of changes outside of this. Now, we may see that if we get enough people. If we get enough people that say, hey, EVA salvage is kind of stupid, which is what I agree, I would rather see one of two things. The Vulture be very similar, or the twin ship to what the Prospector is, right? Something where you can still be inside. The Prospector is the entry-level mining ship, where you can still be inside and do all of your stuff.
Entry-level.
Right. And do all of that stuff just on a salvage front. Or, this is something I would have liked to have seen, is a tug ship, right? Something that's smaller.
Yeah.
And it pulls large scraps of salvage behind it somewhere else to get processed. That I thought would be a really cool idea. I'd be very happy with that. Now, that being said, this could still work. It actually could work in tandem with the Kraken at the same time, much like the Idris and the Argo work together, right? So you have the Idris, you get the Argo with it. It's sort of its little snub ship that comes with it. I could see the Kraken coming with something like the Vulture, right? And them doing both. So maybe if the votes are close enough or something, maybe if they see this podcast, or if somebody else brings it up to them, that they're like, okay, well, we can please most of everybody and do both at the same time.
I like the idea of the Kraken being self-sustaining by using salvage ships and that sort of stuff to bring salvage on board, and then that be all the materials it needs. I think that's a great idea, and that makes a lot of sense for like the kind of Drake mobile base kind of thing.
I mean, and the final point that I want to make on this for myself is, do you guys remember the last things that we got to vote on? Do you remember all the ships that were in that voting?
Yeah, they've all been made.
They were the Reliant, they were the Terrapin, they were the Hurricane, and they were the Dragonfly.
Right. So
4 ships, all being made.
Yes, I agree with that. The one thing that differs from that to this is all one manufacturer, and I don't know if these are all going to stay as one manufacturer. I would really, really like to see that capital ship as a Drake ship. That's the only thing. I assume that all 3 of these are going to get made. That's right. They're probably if we found out tomorrow or today or a week from now that they said, yep, all these ships are getting made, this is just voting on what one goes into the pipeline first. 100% get the smaller one done first. Then I would say don't even go by the votes. Get the Corsair done before that, and then get the capital ship done. I don't care if the capital ship comes in after launch, as long as it, like, I just think it's such a great idea and that it does fit really well with Drake as a capital ship. That being said, if you haven't voted for that and you want to go and make your vote, this command is a little biased, but !Kraken in chat. That's going to provide you with a link, and then you can go and make your own
it
vote.
Automatically votes for the Kraken for you, and then
because why else would you go there?
Yeah. It also brings up that nice wallpaper
we'll...
that I made. If you want that wallpaper, the Kraken 2947 right here. But yeah, if you haven't made your vote, go get your vote in there. There's about 32,000. So obviously not the majority of the community, but I think it's the community that's sort of active.
That's active, yeah.
And I honestly, even if I was to say everybody who watches this, watches it on YouTube and everything, if everybody was go to vote on one thing, I don't think it's going to change anything at this point in the game. I think that everything's sort of stuck in where it's going to be. Maybe. #vote Kraken. But yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was probably the most controversial thing this week. The last thing that we have in the doc is my radar interview.
Yes.
Before we go on to that, I just wanted to say something that was in the monthly report.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Is that they are 342 UK are working on a ship and a vehicle at the moment. And normally when they mention them in the monthly reports, that means they're going to go on concept sale or they're just about to be revealed.
Yeah.
Well, they
live stream probably
also mentioned on the happy hour the reason that the Starlifter was an option was because they may be announcing some much larger ground vehicles during the holiday stream.
So do we think that's going to be the tumbrel vehicle they promised by the end of the year? And
Probably.
Do we think it's going to be a tank or an APC or
it might be something bigger? I don't know. I don't know the brand.
Armored personnel carrier. So I suppose the Urza is APCS.
Yeah.
And then the Tumbril AA one is sort of, right?
No, that's an anti-air.
No, it's not. That's
you're thinking of the Tumbril.
So, an APC carries.
You're thinking of the Cyclone. You're not thinking of the brand
mind.
Tumbril. Yeah.
It carries people very safely. The idea of an APC.
Gotcha.
But I mean, they have talked that they're going to do tracked vehicles and big vehicles, and I'd love to see big tanks.
Yeah, like we don't have any.
I think we're going to start to see a lot more of ground vehicles in general, especially with like like for me, I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
going in the Ursa and I go do my initial D drifts on the ice patches in Yella, or go and get that sick air, boy. It's so fun for me just driving around and doing that stuff and sort of exploring around in the vehicles. I kind of wish there was some more interesting, like there were more derelicts around. They were more common. But just driving around is super fun to me. I drove into the sunrise the other day. It took like 2 hours.
Wait, into it?
We were going in the dark. And then eventually the star had come up and it started to light everything up. And as we were going over mountains, you could see more and more of it. And then it was like that scene in The Lion King where it was like, see where the sun touches? We own all of that. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
I think you watched a cheap version of Lion King.
Yeah, that was an exact quote. See all of this land? That's we are, that is ours. It's poor English. It was fantastic, yeah. But yeah, no, that was quite cool. And I think that we're gonna start to see more of the ground type vehicles come in because there is gonna be such a need for that now.
They basically transitioned Star Citizen from this game where you travel from one location in space to another location in space, quickly end up down at a landing zone, do your business and leave, to
I think
you're now going to be spending, I believe you're going to be spending, I think the plan, it really seems that way, to spend time on land, quickly travel from, one location to the next, do your business, and then go somewhere else and land and spend more time on these planets and in these places than traveling around in space.
I think there's going to be an element of that, but I also think they're trying to appeal to both of those types of gamer, where one of them is going to not want to combat, and other people are just going to live on planets and farm.
They want it to be a sandbox.
They want it to be a sandbox, and they want it. They want to have those. There's probably like 20 different game genres going into that, and they want all of them to effectively be a fleshed out game in their own right, which is weird, but
it's ridiculous. And
it is ridiculous,
but in a good way, And the I don't really know where I was going, but basically, they want the game to be a sandbox, and if it's truly going to be a sandbox, then you have to have the ability to spend all your time on a planet if you want, or all your time in space if you want, and they're going to need to those out.
I suspect there's going to be people that go, actually, I'm going to not have any spaceships. I'm just going to literally live on planet and then be crew and stuff, and be like, I'm going to be a crewman. I'm going to be there'll be loads of role players that literally run Idrises together stuff, and you're going to have some great things like that. I'm just really upset we don't have mods now.
Now we know they're probably going to announce some vehicles. We know there's plenty more vehicles coming down later on, right? Now that we have, and you have to remember, like the moons that we have now are exceptionally large and take a very long time to traverse on ground. Those are moons. Those are not planets yet.
Even in the air.
Right? Even in the air. So my question to you guys would be, and for you in chat or in the comments below in YouTube, what would you like to see as a ground vehicle? What if you could have any sort of impact, and you could sit down with Chris or Aaron and say, hey, this is what I want, and you could plead your case, what would it be and why? I guess I'll start with Bored.
I mean, the issue is there's two types of vehicle which I think are desperately needed in the game. And one is a salvage and repair vehicle on the ground.
Oh yeah.
That literally goes, I am going to salvage things on the ground, nom, whether that's bases, ships that have crashed, whatever. But also I want to see a proper competitive anti-air tank that goes, oh, you've come into my airspace. I'm not that scared of your missiles. I'm going to blow you up. Like, and that has to have downsides where, I don't know, either you can turn its power off, either it has a huge signature or something so that you can deactivate them somehow, but maybe you have to attack them on the ground or whatever. But or attack them with like overwhelming force, or know exactly where the position is to hit them with bombs or torpedoes or whatever. But proper anti-air cannon on a tank, oh yes, give.
I don't know. What about you, Source? I'll let you go first.
Okay, so really for me, my inspirations definitely come, I look at it less of what the job does as sort of how it performs and sort of what it does on the ground. So we know that they've shown the Spider Miner quite a bit, right? I would really like to see an AT-AT or an AT-ST type vehicle that walked around and did that. And if they have the Spider Miner, they kind of have that tech or they're going to eventually need that tech, where a vehicle moves around on legs like that.
Are you talking about bigger than the Titan armor?
Oh yeah. I'm talking like an AT-AT size. Yeah, like an AT-AT or an AT-ST, like the size that they are in Star Wars. Something very similar to that. It's not Titan. It's made specifically. It's not made to go to other satellites or in any buildings or anything like that. These are things that patrol areas and big things like that. So that would be sort of the one thing, right? So think of it as like the equivalent of a gunship, but as these walkers. The other thing would be the equivalent of almost very similar to actually what the Kraken is, right? Kind of like a mobile repair, refueling thing in the form of the Sandcrawler, right? So thinking what the Sandcrawler is with the tracked things, and I think we're going to start to get the tracked vehicles because Sean Tracy has talked about tracked vehicles in the happy hour when they were talking about the Drake vehicle. Matt Sherman was going on about how it would be a articulated tracked vehicle that had different modules on the back, like the BV-203 Hagsland. If you don't know what that is, Google it or YouTube it up. Basically, it's like two little APCs that are connected in the middle. And so the front would have your passengers and your drivers and stuff. And the back would be like a modular thing, similar to what the Caterpillar is, or the Cyclone, where you could put weapons on it. You could put a medical bay on it. You could put living quarters. You could put a salvage arm on it, things like that, which I think would be really cool. But yeah, those kind of things in terms of vehicles. The ground vehicle stuff I really, really enjoy. And I've personally put a lot of thought into it, even though I don't expect any of my ideas to get made. We do see a lot of homage to that stuff.
Something,
Yeah, you never know.
But you never know. But I don't know. I keep thinking, and I've seen a lot of ideas in chat. I thought one that was pretty cool is somebody said like a mobile home, right? Like an RV. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's sort of what I picture with the Sandcrawler.
Yeah, you could pick it up with the ship, and you could travel and see cool places and collect things and fill your RV with it. Maybe I think that'd be kind of neat.
You could even make it like a luxury thing, like the equivalent to a 600 series
Origin ship,
or an 890 jump, but it's a vehicle, an Origin RV,
or a consolidated Outland thing like Mustang Beta, but not
an electric self-driving RV.
Yeah, but that might be cool.
But yeah, vehicles are definitely going to be the next big thing that we're going to see outside of the Titan armor. And I think that's a good segue to go into the next video. So,
Segues, woo!
So there was a video on My Radar where they had an interview with Chris and Aaron.
It was weird because it was on the My Radar site, but it seemed like just somebody interviewed, like we had talked about this before the podcast.
Yeah.
The video was hosted on My Radar, but it was very much
it didn't seem like it was filmed by them.
No, it was, they had a little segment in it, but it was somebody that was interested in Star Citizen and interviewed about the development of the game and where it is and where it's come from and where it's going. And then they kind of go into the My Radar thing. And go ahead.
It was some guy called Miles O'Brien who I thought was the engineer in Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, like I don't know who this guy is and what where he comes from, or maybe what news outlet he works for. But it was a pretty cool video, and we got a glimpse at the Titan armor in it, and yeah, it was good. It was a Vimeo video, so I couldn't grab the actual point where we see it, but it was interesting, right? I know, Bored, you did a video on it, and I'm gonna post the link to your video in the chat now. But
while you're doing that, I'm just going to remind everyone really quickly, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free, for myself, Twerk, or Bored, ! question. Click on that link that Anna posts in chat, fill out that form, and we will get to that question at the end of the podcast here. Also, a reminder that all of the Redacted shirts are on sale right now for $14 plus shipping. ! Merch in chat for the link to that as well.
So Miles O'Brien appears to be quite a big science, technology, aviation, and space journalist.
Okay.
He clearly has quite a lot of interest in that sort of genre.
Yeah, so it makes sense that he would do interview, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it was cool. I mean, we got the usual. We were going to make this game, and then we got a bunch of money, and now we're making this game. But I mean, the big thing was that we caught a little glimpse of the Titan armor, and it looks interesting. I mean, Bored, do you want to describe it at all?
Yeah, so it's an exosuit where your guy pilots it at the top, and the top half is very much like a power loader from Alien. It
looks a lot like that.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the actual. Do you know the?
It's going to have modular arms. Do you want me to try and find some pictures for you in a second?
Yeah, so I have the first one. I think. Yeah, okay, so I have the sort of the quick, rough when they're sort of sketching it. And then I think the second one is not much further than that.
Yeah. And basically, like, where you load into, like where your feet are at the knees, right, of the exosuit, basically. And
yes,
it's got those...
so gives you about 2 foot of height.
Yeah.
So still not as tall as a Vandal.
But it's much smaller than what they were talking about last time.
Yeah.
Where they were like, you know, it was having problems fitting down hallways and
That's not right.
And things like that.
Then I know from even watching Board's video that now they have 2 size 1 weapons potentially, and then it's going to be pretty modular.
That's what originally they had. They originally were testing them in engine with 2 size 1 weapons for arms.
And they couldn't get through the doors.
Well, they couldn't turn in corridors.
Yeah.
They were like, eh. But now it looks like they've got 1 sized 1 weapon-ish that they're holding in 2 arms.
Yeah, it seems more like they're carrying a gun.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But it does look like they can have those arms removed for cargo, grabby.
It seemed like it had the
Paladin.
Just like Alien, that 2 long things to point out so I can grab things.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a picture of that. I don't know.
I can imagine a load of them unloading cargo.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure, right? Because we thought that we were going to get like some sort of a forklift, but I imagine it'd be way more fun doing it in some Titan armor.
Oh, you can fucking duel and joust while you're messing around.
With 1 arm lift cargo, with the other arm smack your friend.
I'm just trying to picture what a Titan suit looks like running across the surface of a moon.
Well, it has those. I mean, off the surface of a moon. I imagine without, with the gravity that some of the moons have, I think it'd be pretty cool. But it has those. I don't know what kind of legs they are, but they're where the knee goes the other way.
Yeah.
Than ours, and it gets more jump, right? Like the animals that have those type of limbs usually run pretty fast, or
usually have them on their hind legs. So any large cats or dogs,
antelopes, I'm expecting them to not be that fast. I'm expecting their major downside is that they're large and not too fast.
Yeah, but maybe they can jump.
Yeah, I mean they're big, certainly. And you wouldn't want to be fighting one down a corridor.
Probably not.
I imagine them like turning, and you're like, "Fuck, he saw me."
Yeah.
And change your name to RoboCop.
Yeah.
Visibility might be another one of the things that's a big problem with them. Like, you can't see directly underneath you. Can you imagine someone crouched under your knees, sneaking past?
Yeah.
Something. It's like, I like the idea, but. Obviously, early concept for that still.
Very early. I mean, it looked like they had just started drawing it, right?
Yeah, they were again working on silhouettes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you think they put that in the video on purpose?
Well, yes, probably. Yeah. Like I think they're pretty on that stuff now. Unless either on purpose or didn't mind it being shown. But I don't know when this interview actually took place or when this footage was actually taken. This could have been up to a year ago, for all we know.
That's true.
I'm trying to look down on someone's desktop because you can see the date, but it's just a white blur.
I don't know. I mean, they're cool. It is very early on, so I just wanted to make sure that we showed everybody, because I still don't get why some of these like leaked things end up on these random ass places. Like I know my radar
instead of on like an ATV.
Yes, it's like this is perfect ATV content, guys. Why is it somewhere else? Like you're fucking yourself over a little bit.
I love this shit. I love the fact they don't have everything in one place, so I can find it and then look really smart when I put it on my channel.
It's true. Or
yeah, but
one day they end up leaking something on your channel, or one day they maybe end up leaking something on the Redacted podcast, right? It might actually be kind of cool, but at the same time, like, doesn't it just?
For the average backer, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, or they don't know, and it's
and they never end up seeing it. Yeah, That being said, if you have any questions, !1 question in chat. We are going to move on to those right now. And it looks like we have a few from Lillian here. So the first one from Lillian.
I want to interrupt real quick before you start. I'm still really sick. I'm going to go blow my nose. So I apologize for the first question or so. I'll be right back. Okay.
Yep. And we're going to see some of these questions were as far back as the 3rd.
Ooh.
So just after the podcast, or if we missed some of them at the end of the podcast, because we had a lot last week. In the presentation, we saw the Javelin parked over a town, Rogue One style, which do you remember that, right? We had the Javelin floating in atmosphere. Now that the ship is going to be in atmosphere, do you think CIG will let it land?
Yeah, anywhere there's a large enough space for it to land, it would probably be able to land.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It's pretty big though. You're gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to find a place for it to land.
Is he talking about the Orion?
No, the Javelin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Idris can land, I imagine the Javelin would be able to as well.
Yeah, I wonder. The big thing for me is I wonder if they will allow, once we have like water and stuff in, and this is what I thought with the Kraken, and this is what I had suggested the Kraken, that only it's big enough. It's too big, but so the only place it can land, and because Drake is cheap, it doesn't have landing gear that can support itself, but it can land in the water. So I wonder if I don't think the Javelin would be like that. I think that the Javelin would have landing gear and actually be able to land somewhere. But that idea is I still think is pretty cool. Next question. Once again from Lillian. Do you think the Orion will jump in price when it goes hangar ready, given the size increase?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you think it'll go up to?
5+.
500? Yeah, probably 500.
And it should probably be more given the size of it.
Yeah, I would guess 550.
Yeah.
And Lillian, this is to BoredGamer specifically, which CCU to Orion would you suggest, if any?
Caterpillar.
Caterpillar to Orion. How much was it? 30?
295. Yeah, it's 295 to what, 325 or something?
Caterpillar won't be going up in price anymore. And it's likely to be on sale again in a few more times in the future, especially when the modules go on sale, stuff like that. So it just makes sense for the Caterpillar to Orion.
Yep.
Yeah. Our next question, once again from Lillian, getting all the questions in. If you're not a combat preference player, which would be better? Hammerhead for protecting industrial fleet, or Hull E because big is better, or Polaris? Well, I mean, two of those are very combat specific, the Polaris and the Hammerhead. So if you're looking at being a space trucker or something like that, the Hull E. Now, if you're looking for players to play with you, then yeah, you're probably going to look for somebody that's flying a Polaris.
See, I love the Hammerhead just for its defensive nature. Like protecting an industrial fleet just sounds...
You mean offensive nature?
No,
I really
defensive nature.
The Hammerhead as well.
So for me,
both.
For me, the Hammerhead is a great patrol and defense and escort ship for large industrial ships.
Yeah.
Because you just fly it with it and go, unless you've got a capital ship, I can shoot down your torpedoes, I can shoot down your missiles, and I can take down the fighters that come close. Now, obviously, if it gets separated from the cargo ship that it's protecting, that's when there's an issue. But I love the Hammerhead for it being quite a defensive ship if it needs to be, as a screening ship.
I really like the Hammerhead in the way that not only does it sort of fit its name in terms of its design style, but also in the way that it would be protecting something. So say if you had 2 or 3 Hammerheads going alongside Orion, right? And basically what it does is they just sort of circle around, right? Like a shark would, while the Orion's doing whatever it's doing. And then they sort of fly along with it when it's going from point A to point B. That whole idea of the Hammerhead and sort of how it circles around and flies around and is on sort of an active defense, I guess is the best way you can put it. I really like how it evokes those kind of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, just for me, if you're not into the combat ships, I don't recommend that you fly one of the combat ships, because then you're going to be taking a combat oriented role. Like, yes, you may not be into the combat style of things and you are going to need to defend yourself, right? But if you don't want to play in a combat role, why would you own a Polaris or a Hammerhead? Because then you're going to be forced into that role no matter what. Like, it makes sense in the synergy of everything, right? But only if one of your friends or your group of friends is defending you in that.
Yeah, get a friend with a hammerhead, or get an orc that has a hammerhead.
Who enjoys the combat or whatever,
Exactly.
and doesn't mind sitting around for a little bit.
And enjoy the type of gameplay that you enjoy.
Yeah. Or it's jamming out to his own tune in his head there.
Mm-hmm.
Bold Rover says, "Hi guys, great show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Given the current state of the PTU and the PTU versions past, do you think a quarterly release schedule is realistic? How would you see the testing working in practice? With regression effects to be expected in each PTU build, wouldn't a quarterly release schedule require a semi-permanent Evocati test environment? If so, do you believe the Evocati are up to the task?" Yes, I
can't even test anything, mate.
I think that it would mean there would be a permanent PTU at the very least up. So there would be always two builds happening at the same time. There, you would always have the permanent PTU build, and you would always have a live build. The PTU would have the most cut up to date whatever in it, and then live is whatever sort of been stable and fixed and working together, and whatever that would be on there. Anything they want to do for testing, especially a lot of the balance stuff and all of that stuff, they could have on the PTU build. And then when they're happy with something, or whenever it's close to what they're really happy with before it goes live, it goes before it goes to launch, it would go to live.
Right now,
I don't know if they have the internal scheduling to do that. This isn't the first time
they have the internal QA to be testing two builds at once. I think well, they would need to be testing two builds. 2.6. The way you just described it, they would be.
Well, no, because the live would have already been tested. So there would be no issue counselor for live. There would only be an issue counselor for the PTU.
Okay.
Right.
Originally, how you described it, I didn't think it would be possible.
No, so this isn't the first time that they've said they wanted to do a release on a schedule or even a quarterly release. They've said previously they wanted to do monthly releases. They've said previously they wanted to do quarterly releases, and they're unable to live up to that. The only difference in between now and then is now we have a very, very effective Delta patcher that not only minimizes cost, but minimizes the time to download those things. And that is something that sort of throws things in the air a little bit. That being said, I'm not holding my breath for quarterly patches.
A lot of the systems now, most of the systems that they want to put in can be deployed individually or as smaller portions compared to what 3.0 was. There was so much stuff in 3.0 which relies on each other and has to be released at the same time, which is really, really bloody annoying. They could have released quarterly before. They could have, and they could have been doing that, but we would have had to wait effectively a lot longer for different chunks of the game, and we would have got a weird hodgepodge of stuff, and the game would have taken longer to release overall because they'd be testing vehicles in and getting stuff in before items.
To be honest, I think they still could. It just, you wouldn't be seeing a large. It's okay. So I think a lot of people are confusing a quarterly release schedule as in a large release every quarter. Mm-hmm. I don't think that would be the case. I think it would still be a large release once a year, but then
we'll never get a 3.0 again.
But we're going to see smaller patches like, okay, so this is going to fix a bunch of things. This might bring in whatever ships are ready at the time. Maybe we have some new environments, some new outposts.
Maybe salvage, maybe mining, maybe some of the smaller mechanics, maybe a large mechanic.
But don't expect like network code this patch, and the next patch is all of salvaging and mining, and then the next patch after that is. I don't think it'd be like that. But I think if they bring in smaller stuff to fill in between the larger patches, I think is sort of what they're aiming for.
I do think we will be surprised in 2018. Like, I do think there's a lot of systems that are genuinely coming on, and that we will see a lot of content in 2018. Now, obviously, we'll see a lot of first iterations of things, which will be like, this is the mine mechanic. Oh, it's shit. Like there's stuff that it will take a while to get sorted and fixed, and it will be early days. But I do think we're going to see a lot of stuff.
Now, we are having some people. These are older questions from last week, some of these questions. So, for example, the one that's CCU to Orion, that question is actually no longer relevant until the Orion goes on sale again. You can't CCU to that ship at the moment because it is a limited sale ship. So, unfortunately, if you're looking for a CCU for that, I see some people in chat looking for that. where you're not going to be able to do that. I'm just answering some of the questions that were in here from.
You might be able to get it. There might be a holiday sale. Who knows? CIG do like to make money around the Christmas period.
This is true. Treason says, I intend to play a pirate character, but I feel that CIG intends to minimize my ability to play on unlawful characters while having options. It just seems they see it as a single profession, not a reputation path, probably because people always say pirates/griefers like it's an indistinguishable from one another. And CIG tends not to correct them, and it's an endless feedback loop. I believe lawless jobs should be a range of things, not just things to pick from, or people will get bored to the detriment of the worrying folk because bored people start being dicks and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what options do we have for crime besides outside pillage and smuggle?
I totally disagree with him. I think that
I disagree as well.
Be just as much content for outlaws and pirates as there is for not outlaws and pirates.
I mean, you're still going to want to do mining. You're still going to want to do salvage. You're still going to want to do exploration. You're still going to want to try and claim land.
You're just going to let somebody else do it for you.
Or you're just going to not do it the proper way. You're just going to go in guns blazing or tell people to give you money, right? If anything, you could say there's more things.
Yeah, that is one way to play as a pirate. There's going to be so much to do as pirates, and there's the added, more aggressive PvP options.
You could also be stopping people and asking them for money to charge to go through your sector, or
for me,
things
it's less
like
mechanical and more reputation system based. It's not a this is a gameplay mechanic. It's the reputation is the gameplay mechanic, and there's going to be lots of different areas, reputation, factions,
and that'll close off and open up certain things, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Mars Eckhart and the missions you can get in 3.0 and stuff now, they are different based on whether you're an outlaw or an all player, and piracy is just one route through that, and the killing of people and stealing of their cargo and stuff is just one of the things you can do. There's going to be loads. There's going to be loads of stuff you can. It's nuts.
There you go.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Rudo yet? Have you been in the most recent patch?
He's been in before that.
This is offline.
Yeah,
this is the first time I've seen him.
So he was in before, and you didn't have to hit that pad. He was just sitting there before. Yeah. And then this one, he says something, and you have to hit the pad. The pad was still interactable, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Before. Locos says, what do you think was the best piece of information in the latest monthly report? For me, the news of Microtech entering Concept was music to my ears. I'm trying to read it. I read the whole thing on stream.
I don't know. Probably the fact that they're doing some ground vehicle stuff, right? Wasn't that in there, or was that in something else? Like, I don't know anymore. There's so much information now. I can't keep up with it like I used to.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it is that I was reading. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember.
Yeah, Bored. You did a video on the monthly report. What was the thing?
I'm just looking at my notes. There was quite a cool few things, especially like with they're moving away from the shitty shield effects to some cool shield effects.
I hate the shield effects now.
Yeah, they're moving away from
so like compared to everything else now.
The new particle effects, right?
Yeah, moving away from meshes and moving into particles. There was loads of weapons and stuff they were making. They're converting over Area 18 at the moment. There was lots of Squadron 42 work they talked about. It was the AI stuff. There was a lot of AI on-foot combat stuff done. So that AI can go around. Well, it's super important for so many things.
It's very important.
They have Squadron, obviously.
Yeah. Well, for everything. So the game is so AI reliant in so many aspects. It's the AI subsumption, the planet tech, and the network code are the three things which hold up the game. I pretty much don't think anything else holds it up in the same way that those systems do. And they were talking about having these AI entering and exiting cover and ships, and understanding when to peek around walls, the buddy system working better, and they're moving more of the they've just got a load of the AI conversation much more deeper and the ability to make it much more intelligent now than it has been previously, and that to be a lot less information sent as well. Obviously, that sort of stuff, they can make the AI do anything they want, but not necessarily 200 AI in a room without your computer going to 1 frame a second. So it's the amount of optimization that stuff takes as well. But the German studio always do some little hidden gems in their little AI section every month.
It is so important. It's not always the most interesting to read about, I guess, or to watch, but it is so important to the game as a whole, especially with them saying that we're going to have 9 NPCs for every 1 player, right?
The Void Bomber art was cool. The Hurston little look was cool.
Well, that actually brings it up the next question from LockOS again. Do you think the Stanton system is going to be done by the end of 2018? What would be the next star system you'd like to see made after that? So I don't know, because Stanton, you're looking at planets like ArcCorp, that is, using the city tech.
Looks pretty done.
It looks like it's a lot of work though too.
Yeah,
I think we will have a fully fleshed out Stanton system by the end of 2018, but not finished. Like, there's going to be so much stuff that they'll continue to improve and have to finish, including their procedural city stuff, the procedural internals, all the points of interest, all the modular missions. There's going to constantly be improvements. They will keep on building upon that. But I think the system will be fully fleshed out. As in, we've only got 1/4 of it now. We will have the full system and probably be able to visit all the locations.
In terms of the next system I'd like to see after this, Stanton is very much a UE system, so I would like to see a non-UE system.
Stanton's not a UE.
Is it
No,
not?
it's a private system.
Oh,
it's literally on
I take
sale
it back then.
for all those companies.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it was
UE sold
protected.
the entire system off. It was, and now it's not. So it was sold off completely to those 4 companies, and those 4 companies have to protect it.
They protect
That's
themselves.
why.
Did they buy land claims?
For them.
Oh, I see.
$50 a piece. They bought them all.
Hey,
And that's how procedural planets were born.
yeah.
That's how they were born.
So I still would like to see. Obviously, I'm going to lean towards some more outlaw or Vanduul stuff. I would like to see more alien stuff next.
That'd be cool. I doubt we will,
But if we can't get that, maybe our system, Sol, with Earth and Mars and Jupiter.
that's going to be the most controversial one to do, right? Because they could say, okay, a planet is this big. This is where everything is. But once you get to Earth,
That's
we
the
know
one
what
where
Earth
it's
looks like. We know how long it takes to travel between one place and another on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no joke. I really like.
Do you think that they would make
might
Earth
be
1 to
one of the
1
last ones.
in terms of size?
Could they make Earth 1 to 1?
Well, I mean, of course, if they're making, if you look at Crusader is much bigger than Earth in terms of size.
I think there
But
may
it's
be
just
some
gas.
form of in-law reason. Like, I think Earth might be destroyed or attacked or taken. Maybe the Sol system itself might not be accessible. That's the kind of feeling.
Well, no,
I get.
we
There's
need to be.
no way
We
we're
know that
going
there's
on Earth
landing
the way
zones on
we do.
Earth.
We do.
Yeah, we know that it's London.
But no,
is it
remember,
Singapore?
Source, that was
Maybe.
way pre-procedural planets.
Maybe for Squadron
Way
42.
pre-procedure
Maybe
plan.
that's just for Squadron 42.
Yeah,
And
but they listen. I'm not expecting them to make every single city and town and stuff like that. They can say, oh, hey, there was a big nuclear war. A lot of the stuff got wiped out except for these major cities. And there's some hubs and they might put some little Easter eggs of like, here's the pyramids and here's something
I
else.
just think that if they had built Earth as the first planet, that they would have 10 times the amount of funding they have now. And I think there has to be a reason they haven't.
Yeah.
That's a good point because it's a fucking impossible.
And
It's
because
impossible
could
and
they
have
not
it
use
be good?
a height map? Could they not use a real life? And they could do this for the moon. They could do this for Mars as well. Like a real life. There's games that do this where they use a real life height map for the
But I would
actual.
travel from New York to where I grew up in 30 seconds instead of 20 minutes.
I mean, the Earth has been mapped in the ability that they could put it into the game, into their engine almost certainly. It's an interesting thing. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see how they tackle it for sure.
I mean, next time I have an office tour, because that will be after Squadron 42 reveal on holiday live stream. That's the sort of questions I'll ask. Like this sort of like.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because right before the anniversary sale, they had mentioned that they're going to do a concierge thing at the LA studio for May the 4th. And I talked to Twerk, and I know Twerk doesn't like flying, but I'm talking to Twerk about convincing him to go, because I'm going to go. And Bored, it would be really cool if you could go, and then all three of us could go to the LA studio and do the LA thing together.
CIG, pay for me to go. No, actually, my viewers pay for me to go.
Bored, somebody get this man a sponsor. Some sponsor, pay for him to go.
Woo!
Somebody get me drugs, so I'm.
You live in Florida.
He doesn't like
just go step outside.
I literally hate flying. Step outside, and there's drugs everywhere.
And the last question from Lock OS: what do you think the most underrated ship is?
The most underrated ship. So that's suggesting that it's a good ship.
Right now, it's the Reliant.
Fuck that ship.
What do you mean? Right now, it's one of the best ships for doing just the regular old missions in 3.0.
That's a good point. It's a starter ship.
You can pick up a few boxes. It's got great visibility, so you can see all the pretty things that you want to see. You don't really have to worry about too much combat for the find a person, missing crew, carrying things back and forth.
I would say the Avenger.
How is it better than an Avenger Titan?
Yeah, I would say the Avenger Titan.
Because it's got a better view.
Oh, fuck that. I hate that ship so much. It burnt me so hard. I just don't like the way it flies. It hurts me when I fly it.
I'm going to have to go with the Avenger Titan. You don't see them very often. And it's a perfect all-around ship.
Yeah, and you can't have a friend in the Avenger Titan.
For me, I think it's the standard Hornet.
They could hang out in the back.
Just a normal Hornet with a cargo box.
Yeah. Nice and straightforward. What about you guys in chat? Let me know what you think the most underrated ship is. Try not to pull out each other's throats.
Yeah.
Next question's from Catafor. Should they, or do you think they will add a fast animation for when you're under fire, etc., so you can get in and out of cockpits and turrets faster?
Yes.
Whatever happened to those?
I don't know.
What the fuck happened to those?
They're making them, and they made them and stuff.
They made them, but they're not in game. Like
maybe they're not.
The option isn't in game to, remember how it was? Well, you'd hold shift to get in it faster.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
I don't know, but I know they've done them, and I know they're planning to have them in the game still. So
yeah, I would imagine, but I'm just surprised we don't have them yet.
Next question kind of puts words in your mouth, Twerk, and and it may be true. But it says from Catafor, do you agree with Twerk that 3.0 was released too early to the PTU?
No, that's not putting where I specifically said that. I think we're still playing what is essentially an Evo Cadi build.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
I don't think it was released too early, though. Yeah. I think it's better that it's released and that people are able to see it, and that more people are able to test it. From a streamer
perspective.
No, I'm not. Yes. I'm saying that from a backer perspective. As a backer, I'm going to say this 100% as a backer, I don't believe that there should be an NDA under anything. I don't think that they should be hiding a lot of things. I think that I would like to see things come into the game without textures. I was fully anticipating to be playing in a gray world with just like when we saw the interior of your Orion, I was expecting that's when the ship comes in.
Okay.
That from when I first learned about Star Citizen.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get polished over time. So that's where I said, and I see where you could say, yeah, as a streamer, obviously I want to be able to play the builds and stuff. But as a backer, I want to see more behind the curtains. That's why I backed early. That's why I follow the project so closely and as closely as I do.
Unfortunately, we're always going to be heavily biased because we are content creators. Like, we can't see it from another perspective. We can try.
I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I am a content creator.
I am an influencer, so at the end of the day,
you are. You're an influencer.
Buy my merch.
Ubi Montreal Legion says, looking at you guys, I'm wondering if there was a mustache giveaway along with the ships during the anniversary sale.
Only mustache rides giveaway, not a mustache giveaway.
Good old
Free
mustaches
Caterpillar
for
rides. Check out
Star
this venomous
Citizen's race.
Vanduul Caterpillar right here.
We'll have Saurus style mustaches for the whole Star Citizen final release. They're beautiful. I think the stream will get shut down.
For being too goddamn good looking.
When Star Citizen
Wow.
releases, will you give out mustache rides?
Yeah, done. Boom.
There you go.
Next
All your
question.
mustache rides from board. Cataphor
Yep.
says, what do you think of the Saurus 80 stash? Have you requested Christmas cards from him? Also, love your podcast. It's the best Star Citizen podcast out there. Thank you. I guess none of those questions are for me to answer.
Reminds me
So-
of my uncle, and it's pretty creepy.
I actually was I was donating bits in Saurus's stream a couple days ago, and I was sending out a PSA. So I figured, on the podcast, I should also share this PSA. And the PSA said, public service announcement: this streamer is not allowed to be within due to this streamer's mustache. He is not allowed to be within 100 meters of a school zone.
He tried. It didn't really catch.
Well, I tried to get other people to spam it, but your channel isn't as prone to spam as mine is.
Right.
So
And
it didn't work out very well.
for those of you that don't know, I am doing Christmas cards this year. So if you would like a personalized Christmas card, exclamation card in chat. Cozy Flea says, when do you think we will see Caterpillar modules, and what are some of the modules you're hoping for?
What was it called? It was like their salvage one, right? But it was their like illegal salvage, like a chop shop.
Yeah, their Chop Shop one. They also had like the black market store stuff. They had also shown one where they connected a bunch of constellations to it, and that has since been scrapped. But I still like the idea if it was only proprietary to other Caterpillars and they only hook up on the same plane. So you don't have one Caterpillar that's upside down connecting to another one, because that fucks with the physics grids. But if they have to connect on the same plane, I really like that idea. And then you could have your mobile base without the Kraken. You could do it by connecting a bunch of Caterpillars together. When they're going to come out, hopefully we hear about them sooner rather than later. I really would have thought that we would have seen what the modularity would have been before we had these votes on what Drake ships come out, because I think it should affect how the manufacturer creates ships. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Or do you have anything to add to that?
Nope.
All right. Vulcan Cannon says, the new launcher that needs to be downloaded for 3.0, is it the same one you will use for the live build? Yes. If you do not have that launcher, even if you're not in the PTU right now, you can download the new launcher, exclamation point launcher in chat. IDD says, since all of you voted for the Kraken, Twerk doesn't count as a real person, I would love to hear why it should have a higher value for the entire Star Citizen player base than the Vulture. I personally think the Vulture is more useful because the majority of multiplayer games, Star Citizen will be dominated by strictly solo or small group players. I disagree with that. I think that it's an MMO and should be played as an MMO, which is a social game, number one. Number two, like we had all said earlier, the Kraken or the Vulture, no matter what, is going to get made. They're going to make an early a starter salvage ship, regardless whether we vote for it or not. I don't think that the Kraken is 100% confirmed whether we vote for it or not. Number three is I really don't like the idea of an EVA mechanic with hand tools being tied to a ship that basically any ship could do, whether it be the Aurora, the Avenger, the Cutlass, the Caterpillar, a Constellation.
I think the worry is the Vulture might not get used because the Black's just going to be better. But it's important for people to make their own decisions in the vote and stuff. I'm
100%, but
no
he's
way
asking.
They will waste dev time on a ship if it's not going to actually be effective in the role that they want it to play in. They just described it awfully.
Right. And then my third thing would be, assuming that it gets made, and all of this other stuff as well. In terms of gameplay potential, how much gameplay potential are you actually going to get out of a starter? Obviously, I do agree that they should be made, and I think they should, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be, no matter what. But how much gameplay are you going to get out of a starter ship? And how long are you going to...
It's an entry
Oh, right. That's what I meant. An entry-level salvage ship before you upgrade it, as opposed to an endgame capital ship. Right? There's going to be a lot more gameplay. There's going to be a lot more things to do on the late game one than you're going to be doing with the entry level.
The entry level Vulture, people are actually going to own it, whereas there might be 10 people and then everyone else that buys them with the Vultures. So, but obviously, lots of gameplay potential with the Vultures that other people can experience without having to buy it. Obviously, that's the thing with capital ships. It's just the thing is that it seemed to be overly polarizing, this topic, and I didn't think it should be. It should be read it and vote for the one you want. We could, because of what we do for a living, and like covering Star Citizen a lot, I would prefer the Kraken because I think it adds the most to the game, and I think the Vulture is going to get made anyway. It's pretty much the same as Saurus.
Yep.
Boom, simple, but
I just wanted to make sure that the Vulture was Drake. I think it should be Drake.
That's also true. I agree with
I agree that the salvage ship should be Drake.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't agree with the Vulture as it's been described. That's all.
Yeah,
I think that if they're going to do that, they should just...
There's a lot of agreeing going on.
A lot of agreeing. I don't know how I feel about... I don't know how I feel about this podcast right now.
Podcast. Fuck you, Saurus.
Yeah, fuck you, twerk.
Now we're back. Good.
Cataphor says, would you like a vehicle or ship that can go underwater? And would you like a vehicle that can dig tunnels and go underground? Chasing sandworms, anyone?
Not the digging one, but I'd like a boat.
I could see, as a funny little side note, because Elon Musk has the Boring Company, I think it would be highly appropriate if they do make a tunneling machine that it's made by Consolidated Land. That being said, I think that they're researching and looking into doing the underwater thing and underground stuff. I don't know if you're going to be making your own tunnels. I don't think that's going to be a thing. But I think that they want to do caves and stuff like that.
And gravity simulation. So if they don't do boats, and they basically said they were going to do boats as well a long time ago. If they don't do boats and underwater caves and stuff and underwater exploration, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit because they're bringing all this beautiful tech for it, but they're not doing it. You might as well exploit it a bit.
Yeah. Little Prince says, when ships are purchasable in game, how do you think CIG will start to fund itself? The exact same way they're doing it. Concept sales. The thing is being able to buy ships in game up until the game release doesn't mean that you own the ship yet. So with every patch, just like it has been, you get a wipe and you're going to lose all that stuff and you're going to have to earn it all over again. Unless they want you to test specific ships, then they'll reduce the price and stuff.
I think it's going to get them a lot more sales of the larger ships, like medium and large ships. I think as soon as they're available to buy in game, people are going to buy more of them with real money. And the smaller ships that are really easy to get, and the vehicles, maybe not so much. Like people will go, well, I can just get that so quickly and easily in game. I think there will be an element to that.
You guys are a bunch of trolls in chat.
I can't fucking deal with it.
Oh, man. Adrian Scholl.
My boys have taken over for sure.
Adrian Scholl. What kind of high-speed interplanetary public travel methods would you like to see between major planetary locations? Hyperloop, low planet orbit rocket routes, etc. I'm really excited for on-surface trains and like monorails and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, public transport. At
Guys, please don't spam in chat. It's illegal. Okay? Just know right now that if I need... listen, I have connections to Twitch, okay? If I need to get the Twitch police in here, I will.
Whoa, big streamer
I will.
boy here.
Hey, don't make me throw that power around. All right? So let's just calm it down and chat a little bit and stop with the illegal activities. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jeez, monk ass.
It's not never gonna end.
Trams and trains.
Yeah, Trains, I really want to see. I think that would be really cool.
But then, like 1,000 years in the future, would there be trains? Or
Yes.
since our ships can float in the air, would there be floating trains?
Maybe there might be
Like
there might
hover
be
trains?
Gravlev trains.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think we're
that's-
going to
that's
see
a
traditional ones as
possibility.
well. I mean, we saw them in Hurston when they showed the
Yeah.
thing. I think it's part of the
We-
design.
Yeah, I think you'll see each of the different cities and manufacturers and techs and stuff done differently. Like if MISC do have a city somewhere, then that will be Gravlevy probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Skyven Razgriz says, do you guys think that the Ursa rover will get a small maneuvering thruster so we can exchange them in space, ship to ship, and or at least 4 downward thrusters to get off rocks on planets or jump small trenches? Also, add headlights to the top so we can drive at nighttime. Come on, CIG. I've seen it on rally cars. Thanks, guys.
I'd like to see the what was it called in oh my god,
In Mass
the
Effect.
Mass Effect, yeah. What
The
was
jump?
it?
The jump thrusters or whatever?
Yeah, but what was the name of the ship?
The ground vehicle.
The Mako?
I was just like,
Mako, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I'd like to see the Mako. So
think-
sure,
yeah.
the thrusters I'll take.
I think especially for the Ursa, because it is an exploration thing that, yeah, you're bound to get into areas where you could get stuck and it needs to have a way to unstuck itself. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I'm also a huge proponent of the lights, like a light bar on top that maybe so you can see driving around at nighttime, because when you're driving around on the dark side of a moon, it's like rocks come out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you don't see it until it's 10 feet in front of you. And I don't know if that's because of how bright the lights are, or if it's because the lights are below what you see, so it only lights up so far. So I think that if you had like a light bar on top of the roof that face forward, it would help light it up a little bit more. Next question's from Lita Prince, and he says, what are your individual in-game aspirations? To be good and not bad, like Twerk.
wow. Industry stuff. Learn all the industry mechanics. Do mining. Do cargo transport. Base build. All of that. Just have the game released and play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My in-game aspirations: have the game released and play it. Yeah. No, I really like the social idea and aspect of it. So I'm really looking forward to that. Obviously, I want to do piracy, but I don't want to limit myself to just that. I want to do a lot of everything.
I'm really looking forward to voice over IP or face over IP specifically, and I'm definitely gonna to role play cam off, and just absolutely fuck with people. That is my plan.
Oh,
there you go.
Obviously, the industry stuff that I've always said that we say on the podcast all the time, but I really want to like have some fun with that. I think it could be really, really fun.
Yep. I mean, as a social game, Star Citizen should be now pretty big. In that other thing in that interview that they said with my radar is that it's kind of like Second Life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't want to like role play like serious role play. I just want to I want to make people uncomfortable and just fuck with them. It's
Wow.
not like RP like, well, excuse me here. I'm a sheriff, I don't know, Sheriff Eli is the first thing that comes to mind because he's a Twitch streamer, but and he's not really cringy or anything, but like I imagine most RP is going to be really cringy, whereas for me, I'd like to have fun with it and be jokey,
Do you think that they'll
just fuck
put
with people?
the most RP is the kind of stuff that puts paint on their face and yeah.
Like makeup and dressing up as a girl? You mean?
No, I was referencing the cringe emote because
Cameron,
of
yeah.
that stuff when they were RPing the different teams and stuff. Our next question.
Hopefully that's the top level of cringe, and we never go past that.
To be honest, I'm looking
Ever
forward to
again.
Probably
playing assaulting stations with my heads on a swivel and doing a rolling V formation.
That was pretty cringy as well.
That was pretty cringe.
That might have been worse.
Skila says, if you log it in your ship bed when someone steals your ship, would it despawn as it does right now on the PTU, or should it be able to log back in on your stolen ship so you can try and take it back? What do you think the right way for this game mechanic to work? That brings up a good point. What happens if you are logging out on your ship and someone steals it?
Well, if you're logging out on your ship, you'll be in your bed.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone is on your ship, that ship won't despawn, and they can go and murder you in your bed. Although your bedroom door will probably be locked.
And if they don't, you just respawn wherever your body is, I guess.
Yeah, in your bed. It's going to be hard to sneak aboard someone's one-man ship or small ship.
Especially the fact that they're lockable now, right? Like, people aren't joining us like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
You should just pop in your ship and then randomly there was somebody there and you were like, what the fuck?
And there's going to be sensors on larger ships that go, this is an unauthorized person.
Yeah.
This is a life sign which is not registered to use any of the consoles. He's in the toilet, locked in the toilet currently.
There you go. Aragorn BH says, do you think that exosuits should be powered by a battery, electricity, and should be vulnerable to EMP style weapons? Also, what ships do you think should be able to park them and charge up their batteries? Yeah, I agree with that as well. And anything that's large enough for them to fit in or would have a module for them. So things like cutlass size. Nice, Tark. Cutlass sized or modules, say for a Caterpillar or a Vanguard, maybe. For them specifically. Skull Blocka 1632 says, after the whole anniversary sale, did they release any information about the freelancer variants? I didn't see any, and I really wanted to know more about the Max or the Dur.
We didn't get much on any variants, really. The 300 variants, the reworks, the Cutlass variants, the freelancer variants. They don't seem to be really working on variants as much.
I've got the feeling that the Max and Dur specifically are going to be worked on after the 300i rework, the 300 rework.
I never want to go this direction, but I always feel the reason that we don't have the reworks is because they'd rather have the artists working on new ships that sell. And I don't want to sound like that guy, but I'm going to be that guy in this situation, right? And it's not, and I don't look at that negatively. I'm not saying that in a negative fashion. I'm saying that in the fashion that they need people working on these things because they need the money to develop this ridiculously amazing game that they're trying to make, right? And if they want to keep making it, then they're going to have to keep making money. So therefore, concept ships are going to have to come out. Those ships are going to have to make it into game, and so on, right? We already have these ships that are in game. You can see your Cutlass, you can see your Freelancer, and you can have an idea of what your variants are going to be like. But I don't think it just really doesn't feel like to me that variants are on the table at the moment, you know? And again, I'm not saying that in a negative fashion, but yeah.
Next question from Skullblock again. With the progress shown on the Hull C, any idea on the amount of time needed to flesh out the rest of the Hull line so we can be space truckers? I think once we have the one Hull series ship done, the other ones are going to come in quicker, but it's still going to take some time.
I suspect we'll see the Hull range flyable in 2018. Well,
in the Hull D and E?
The Hull D and E are fucking big, aren't they? I think we'll see the A, B, and C definitely in 2018. I think there's the potential to see the others, but I don't know the logistics of the ships that size.
Of the logistic ships. Oh. Tom5598 says, do you think the opening of Squadron 42 will be the Battle of Vega? I don't know what that is.
No, you remember, so in 2015 at CitizenCon, there was the Battle of Vega.
Oh, right. The speech thing? That was all about?
So that happened afterwards. So there was a lore news post that Vega was under attack.
Oh,
and
yeah, I
people
missed that.
Playing? Okay.
I missed that.
So
I don't follow the lore very closely.
Yeah, I very much follow lore that's happening now quite closely. just because it gives us little hints of what's happening in the game, maybe like ships and things.
Citizen Shenanigans says the Titan suit silhouette showed a two-handed weapon as well as a two-gun turret on one hand. So single size 3 gun for two-handed, maybe. I think it might be a little too early to say that, but I think that size 3 is pretty big. If you're talking like ship size ones, yeah, like size 1.
Size 1,
yeah, is what you're thinking. Size 1 for infantry, essentially.
It's still pretty big. Like a size 1 ship weapon in the hands of an infantryman is big.
All right, we have about 12 questions. I'm going to burn through them here real quick, as fast as we can. Okay. Skullblacka says, what gameplay mechanic are you most looking forward to, and how do you want it to work mechanically?
Mining. Rocks. Put them through a ship, or melt the ore into bars, or something like that. Sell them. Bam.
Boarding ships. Being able to kick down doors. Bam. Run around, shoot people. Done.
Board.
Oh, both of them, but probably salvage at the moment.
Cool.
Okay.
Chop up ships. Pieces.
Adam Barn.
Do it.
That's how we answer all of our questions now.
Money. Brah.
Brah. 2 + 3 is 5.
Quick maths, mate.
Apologies if already discussed, but what are your thoughts on CIG now selling land plots? We already discussed that. It's not selling land plots. It's selling security for land. Dirk C. Would you like to see CIG bring audio equipment to community events similar to head scanning tech in order to record backer voices for use in the PU with NPC wild lines or dialogue? No.
I would actually like
Hello
backer
and welcome to Port
Yeah. I think scanning somebody's face in is one thing. I think voice acting is not easy and is not something that just anybody can do. So no, I don't think that would be.
I like the idea of having wild lines they record at backer events for ship trailers and videos and the little tiny segments they do with like galactic gear and stuff. So they wouldn't appear in game, but they'd appear in lore stuff.
Yeah.
As you said, voice acting is important and needs to be done, and they'll need to pick up sheets and stuff.
A lot of cringe material.
Yeah.
Even if it's not meant to be cringy, even if it's written well, just by the way that people say it and they don't know how to read it properly or convey whatever.
Or don't know how to read. You see Chris and Sandy struggling to read from the fucking teleprompter every week.
And they're like smart people, and they've been doing it for a long time. You know. Slide
Trader, do you think we're going to see a new concept ship at Christmas? Maybe a new concept vehicle?
Yep.
Yes.
There's a potential that the F8 Lightning civilian model might go on sale, because they've mentioned it a couple of times.
Because they said from the beginning that they wouldn't sell it. That'd be crazy.
They also said that it's changed its role in Squadron 42.
So kind of like the go-to ship or something like that.
Maybe
the hero ship or whatever.
They didn't really elaborate much more on it. But if they sold a civilian version, it would have to be a very different ship. Military version, I suppose. But people will still be pissed off. Remember, CIG, people will be pissed off if you sell that ship.
People remember. The thing is why would they be so mad? They would only be mad because CIG continues to say one thing and do another. And it's going to allow them to, like, the only reason that I would be mad about it, because, like, who cares? Oh, wow, you're going to sell another ship that's really cool. Sweet, thanks. But the thing that would bother me about it is the fact that, like, you said one thing and did another. When, like, when are you going to continue to do it? Are you going to do it on something that's actually important?
That's the sort of time that I like the idea of CIG going, look, we'd like to sell this. What do you guys want? That would be a nice medium of, what do you guys want? No, okay, everyone's pissed off. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Next question's from Jetta64. Do you think we need a better system for takeoff and landings? Right now, it's almost impossible to make a picture-perfect takeoff and landing, and it hurts the experience of landing on the moons. Thanks.
Use a joystick.
Well, at the moment, landing and the contraction of the gear and everything is not perfect yet. It's being reiterated. Yes, we need better landings. It's coming.
At times, I have very, very good landings. At times, it's a little buggy.
And there's obviously the landing pads that are
my takeoffs are always good.
The landing pads have automated landing as well.
Yes, you can
Right.
you can automatically land. It's just that it's the landings on moons, and that sometimes that after you've landed, your ship just decides that
It decides it
gonna
wants to
spring
take
up.
off again or something.
Bye, see you later, ship.
Yeah. Ship
What
successfully
they-
landed. Ship successfully taken off. It's like, God damn it.
What they need from with the not the picture in picture, but you know what the system I'm talking about, where you can see a certain thing like on a
Secondary
screen.
viewports. So render to texture and secondary.
Render to texture, yes, render to texture.
Belly cam for the ship. Yeah.
Not like, just think. You know how Elite Dangerous's landing is?
No, actually, I don't.
You see an outline of your ship. There's like a hollow version of your ship, and then there's a line, and there's a box, like that is the landing pad, and it tells you where you are on the landing pad. Now, landing on a planet would be different. You maybe would see the height map or whatever, like if there's a rock in the way on that where that landing pad would be, right? And it would tell you how high you are off the ground, because that's a big thing. Is it's difficult to tell what angle you are sometimes, especially on planets that are angled weird. So I think they need that to utilize render to texture to have a landing little thing, and your radar section will change to a landing screen. I think ED does that very well, and I think they can kind of
VR. They've got like it's like the Guardian system you're talking about putting on, so you can actually see the outlines and not crash.
Correct.
I like that. I think that's a good idea.
Doesn't seem like it's impossible. ED's had it forever, right? Should be able to work.
The next question from Artusi. Do you think it would be out of the question to require the largest ships needing a dry dock type of structure to land in atmosphere, where you could land on already built ones in places like ArcCorp, or if you were going someplace new, it would require a Pioneer or something to build up a dry dock structure before you could land there? I mean,
you don't want every ship to be landable in atmosphere.
No, but then they put the Idris on a fucking planet, and you're like, now what? This is weird.
The Idris isn't that big.
Yeah.
So stuff like stuff like the Retribution is being built in a shipyard planet side, it looks like, but I don't think it will go into after it's left orbit once. I don't think it's ever planned to go back into a planet's atmosphere.
Yeah, it's hard to say. But I mean, it adds more gameplay, and it makes it so you're only limited to where you could land, say, for example, with a Javelin. So you couldn't just take it wherever. You'd have to only land it at certain places that allow it to be landed there.
Land at an orbital station and then ferry down to the planet.
Yeah. Or it could just hover in air and have like a ferry ship travel thing, bring things from the ground to the ship kind of thing. Exo Prometheus says, with the release of the Hoplite and Prowler dropships, as well as the renaming of the Redeemer as a gunship, do you think we can expect a smaller Hammerhead gunship style or of ship, or more of a gunship dropship hybrid that was promised originally? I mean, the Redeemer is always supposed to be a gunship. It was never supposed to be a dropship. It was just sort of added in later on.
And that's what the Hoplite kind of took its role. I don't know what we're going to get from the Redeemer like in the future. We'll have to see its rework. It'll be a gunship, a dropship, or a gunship dropship. We don't know.
Yeah. Mr. Pink says the holiday stream is going to be about Squadron 42 from what we understand. What do you guys think they'll show us, and how far with the game do you think they are? Extrapolated from how it was supposed to come out. Extrapolated from how it was supposed to come out this year. I mean, I think they are a little aggressive with their internal timelines, and maybe they share those with us. How far along? I think they're further along than we give them credit for.
I think we're going to see a vertical slice, and I don't think we're going to see any portion of the game.
Yeah, that's probably quite correct. It will probably be a vertical slice that doesn't necessarily exist in game.
Yeah.
And it will be like half an hour to 45 minutes long. I think with Squadron 42, they have sort of like finished everything. It's like working in game. It's just there's
different levels of completion, right?
Yeah, like some stuff is untextured, loads of animations don't work. The AI needs to be super smart rather than a bit derpy. There's loads of stuff they're improving, and the game is working in dev builds, but isn't appropriate for launch. I'm pretty sure that is where they are, and that's what they kind of imply with the monthly reports and stuff as well.
Next question from Giran. They've been teasing the F7A military Hornet model on the last sale. Do you think they will comment something about it on the Squadron 42 stream? Like the new Hornet models, or even use the F7A Hornet skin?
We see it.
I feel like if they would have done that, they would have done it on the Anvil ship day, though.
No, I think they would show with the Squadron 42 stuff.
Yeah. There's loads of stuff, loads of Squadron 42 stuff, and probably like the new look of the Vandal and stuff we'll see in Squadron 42's stream. So lots of stuff.
Zarn TV says, will an org that plays more lawfully be able to have a secret or off the books affiliation with unlawful pirate orgs without affecting reputation? We have no idea.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We hope so.
You can do it totally out of game.
Yeah, you can do it out of game. But when it comes to the reputation system, for example, I run Overdrive, and Overdrive is very much a community org as much as it is a pirate org at this point in time. We have a lot of people who joined who don't necessarily want to be pirates and don't want to do pirate stuff, and are just want to do mining or whatever. That being said, we don't know how the reputation system is going to work when it comes to that stuff. So is the org you're in going to immediately affect you as a player? Probably. If that's the case, then say for something like Overdrive would be more of a community org, and I would make then a separate organization for pirates only. But with that stuff is still up in the air, and we don't really know 100% on that. Doing stuff outside of the game or doing stuff very loosely, sure, there won't be any reputation, but doing things officially in game and stuff, it's hard to say at the moment. Lillian says, when do you think we will see an intact Idris or Javelin in game, even if the ship is not flyable?
Ooh. Well, there isn't.
Idris.
Oh, he said intact. I was about to say that.
I know
the Javelin on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It'd be nice if we saw one as a
you think
FPS
they're still going to
level.
hold it? Do you still think they're going to hold them back for Squadron?
No, they're not going to hold
fly them until Squadron's released.
They're not. It's going to literally be when
they're ready, when they're supported. Yeah, when they're supported more than one or two of them.
Because capital ships in game means more money.
Yeah.
And our last question here from Galactic Surfer: since the asteroids are going to be voxel based and you can mine them, will they'll land on planets eventually become voxel based so you could do digging? Space Bulldozer, anyone? It specifically said they don't want that because they don't want people. Because what would happen is
change the landscape.
The
artists worked on.
Yeah. Players could essentially mine away a planet if they wanted to. You know, don't ever underestimate the player base. You know, ever. So if you give them that option, then you may have a moon disappear. Right?
No, you're not wrong. So
yeah. So I don't think we're going to see that. I think they're going to keep the voxel based tech to the asteroids only, because they can replenish the asteroids, and they're not as important for landmarks and stuff like that. Individual asteroids, anyways, as an individual moon or Earth is, or a planet rather. But yeah, let's go from there. I want to first say thanks to Ryglitch for helping out with the questions today. Very much appreciated.
Thanks, dude.
Twerk, where can people find you, and what are you up to?
Not up to much as far as other than playing 3.0 on Mondays, switching up things. Again, I've mentioned a few times now. As soon as the podcast is done, is my brother online yet? No. I'm going to start working on the Redacted website, which is pretty much done. My girlfriend's been helping out with some of the art things, and she has them on her flash drive, and I need to put those on when she gets over here. But it's kind of done-ish. So it's I'm just really busting my ass on that.
That reminds me really quickly. Sorry to cut you off here. If anybody, we are looking at revamping the Redacted logo and branding. So if anybody does that or whatever, if you have any good ideas, even just sketches or anything like that, or you want to actually put some time into it, please message one of us on Discord and link us with that. And if it's something we end up using, we will reward you with something. Maybe it'll be a ship or something else, or even gift cards or money or something. But we are looking to do that ASAP, and we're looking at all kinds of different options. So if you have some good ideas for the Redacted brand, the name is not changing, but we are changing we're going to go with an actual logo and some stuff like that. So if you have any ideas, definitely forward to us on that on either Twitter or in Discord. Sorry about that, Torque. That just reminded me.
No, it's perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely related to the site as well. So, yeah, just busting my ass on that. As far as like my content goes, I have some ideas for like some really quick and hopefully quick and easy to do short YouTube videos, but just kind of waiting till I can get a little bit more FPS in game. And I've been struggling to do that, to do some of them. And yeah, just streaming Star Citizen and having a good time. On Mondays, I've been switching it up. It was hilarious. You know, just a funny thing, because like the three of us have definitely dedicated to Star Citizen more than anything as far as our content goes, right? And I streamed Sunday with 500 viewers on Star Citizen. I streamed Monday PUBG with 50. So it's just funny, but like on Mondays, I'm always going to switch it up and play different games. I think it's very important that I do that and not just always be playing Star Citizen. I think it's important to mix it up. The amount of viewers don't really matter. It's just you know, make sure I enjoy streaming as a whole, because that's what I like to do. But yeah, so you can check me out at twitch.tv/Torque17, at Torque17 on Twitter, and at Torque17 Gaming on Twitter, and at Torque17 Gaming on YouTube. All right, and redacted.tv, hopefully updated in the near future.
Soon, TM. BoredGamer, where can people find you, and what are you up to over the next little bit?
Hello. People can find me on the YouTubes, on the Twitters, and on the Facebooks, and pretty much everywhere else at BoredGamer UK. I will be continuing to make 3.0 patch note videos and content on the news and that sort of stuff for Star Citizen, just constantly throughout the week. I mean, I occasionally stream as well. You might be able to catch me on a stream. I'm like a rare exotic like shrew. It's quite hard to find me. But it happens sometimes. So, you know. What about you, Saurus?
You can find me on twitch.tv/WTFOSaurus, which is right here, or on Twitter at twitter.com/WTFOSaurus. I'm going to be streaming a lot of Star Citizen. That's what I've been doing. Mostly 12 to 14 hour streams of Star Citizen on a daily basis. I will be coming on later on tonight. I do have to go hang out with some friends this afternoon. So I know, right? What is up with
You're
that?
Not a streamer. You're not a streamer.
That's it. That's it. He's fired. I'm fired. We are going to do a raid right now, though. We're going to send you guys all over to the Detox TV. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type this in chat, the /raid. At the top of chat, there's going to be a purple bar. Do me a favor and click that join button, and let's see how many people we can get up in there. Detox is another Redacted content creator. He is playing some Star Citizen right now. And let me...
I've heard of him.
Let me give him some audio and bring him up on video here.
Destination set. Gee, thanks
He's
for
got such lovely hair. What a bastard.
Right?
That's how I say.
This guy
So
here.
jealous. Me and Bored always get jealous of people's hair. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, me more than you, Twerk, I think.
I have more, but it's like...
Oh, no,
I'd almost rather just...
I mean, I
get rid
think
of it.
all over my body, I think I probably have more hair. if we do net hair value.
All right, guys, get your WTFO raids, your gray 1, 2, 3, 4s, and your board eggs ready.
Please, roger that, Langdon. Okay, thanks, man.